Heyo, welcome back to the deep dive. If you're prepping for your postgraduate entrance exams, well, you know how those endless vocabulary lists can feel, right? Like a huge mountain you've got to climb.
Yeah, definitely overwhelming sometimes.
Exactly. So if that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Hit that like button and follow along, because today we're doing something a bit different. We're not just, throwing definitions at you. We want to unlock the connections, the hidden links between the English words that really matter for your exams.
We're diving deep into Day 27, Part 1 of your study materials specifically,
That's the one.
focusing on words around ideas like combining and connecting. There are also edges and boundaries.
And competition, confrontation. They run.
Right. And we've also got a group of words with that interesting Finn root we'll look at. The idea is, don't think of this as just another vocab drill.
No.
Think of it more like building a mental map. These words aren't separate islands. They're all connected, part of a bigger picture.
Okay, so let's kick things off with that first idea, bringing things together, combining, connecting, linking. Oh,
Yeah.
sounds good.
First word on our list is combine. Pretty common word. Like you might read, the two countries combined their military forces against a common enemy.
Yeah, straightforward. Joining up for a shared reason.
It's that active merging process.
Exactly. And then you've got the result of that, a combination, like longevity often results from a combination of a healthy diet and regular exercise.
Ah, okay. So it's not just doing two things, it's the specific mix.
Right, how they work together. Combination often suggests different things coming together to make a whole, something new perhaps.
Makes sense. Now, what about connection? I saw this sentence. Although there is a connection between early childhood experiences and later academic performance, it went on to say the exact link isn't fully understood. So it suggests there is a relationship. Maybe it's a bit fuzzy. Yeah. Or just complex. Connection is versatile like that. It tells you things are related, but not necessarily how strongly or directly.
But then you also see things like scientists have established a clear connection between high cholesterol levels and increased risk of heart disease. That sounds much more definite.
It does. And that difference is key, especially in academic texts. You might see authors talk about a connection or a correlation, but they might be careful not to claim direct causation.
Right, because correlation isn't causation, that old saying.
Exactly. Recognizing that nuance in words like connection helps you judge how strong an argument is.
Okay, so connection is like saying there's a road, but maybe not what kind. And link might be more specific.
Sometimes, yeah. Think about police suspect there may be a link between the two seemingly unrelated burglaries.
Okay, a potential connection they're checking out.
Right. But then you also have building strong personal links with clients is essential. That's more about creating those direct person-to-person relationships.
So link can be a verb too, like linking ideas?
Yeah, or the noun, like a link in a chain. It's that specific point of contact or the bridge between things.
Gotcha. Okay, next up, integrate. I remember reading about a university trying to integrate new digital technologies into their teaching methods. It wasn't just like adding computers, but weaving them in, making them fundamental.
Spot on. Integrate means making something a core part of a larger system. It's not just side by side, it's cohesive.
And that connects to integrity, right? Like acting with absolute integrity.
It does. Integrity relates to being whole, consistent in your principles. Like your internal system is fully integrated, no contradictions.
Interesting connection.
Yeah.
Now, the opposite of integrating is separating, segregate.
Right. Like the example, bicycle lanes are segregated from regular traffic.
For safety, a clear separation.
Yeah, segregate is that deliberate act of dividing, keeping things apart for a reason, sometimes practical, like safety, sometimes, unfortunately, used negatively.
Yeah, historically. Okay, then unify, like a leader trying to unify a divided country, bringing everyone together.
And the result is unity. You might hear the website design lacks unity, meaning the parts don't feel like they belong together, they don't work harmoniously.
Right, no cohesion. Okay, union. This one has a couple of meanings.
It does.
The general idea of things coming together, like a union of departments, but also specifically a workers' organization, like that example about Hoffa's Teamsters Union.
That's a famous one. The context usually makes it clear. Is it just things combining, or is it that specific type of workers' rights group?
Makes sense. Next, joint. We know it as a noun, like a knee joint.
Ouch, yeah.
But also as an adjective, meaning shared, like a joint research project.
Right. Shared effort, shared responsibility, like a joint bank account. Both people involved.
And finally, for this connecting group, adjoin. Simple one. Canada and the United States adjoin each other.
Means they share a border, they're next to each other, simple as that. And you have the adjective adjoining, like adjoining rooms.
Got it. Okay, so we've covered connecting things. Let's shift gears to edges and boundaries. First up is margin. This one seems to have a few related meanings.
Plus, like layers.
You've got the page margin, the blank space. Then winning by a narrow margin, a small difference.
Mm-hmm.
And in business, the profit margin. Difference between cost and selling price.
See, the pattern. Margin is essentially about an edge, a border, the space around something central.
Oh.
The profit margin is the space between cost and revenue. The winning margin is the space between the winner and loser.
And the adjective marginal, like marginal improvements.
Means small changes, maybe right on the edge of being significant, not quite making a big impact.
Okay, then frontier. The example mentions an army checkpoint at the frontier. Sounds like a border.
Yeah, often a political or geographical one. It's worth remembering, though, frontier can also mean the edge of knowledge, like the frontiers of science.
Oh, right, pushing the boundaries.
Exactly, where we're exploring the unknown.
Cool. Okay, boundary can be physical, like the river forms the natural boundary, but also abstract. There's often a blurry boundary between close friendship and romantic love.
Yeah, boundaries define where one thing ends and another begins. Can be a real line on a map or a more conceptual line. And sometimes, like your example, those lines aren't sharp.
True. And last one here, border. Noun, they live near the border. Geographical line again.
Yep.
And verb, France borders Germany. Means it's right next to it.
Exactly. Border as a noun is pretty much like boundary geographically, and the verb just describes being adjacent, like neighbors.
Okay, clear enough. Now for the next theme, competition and confrontation.
Let's do it.
Starting with compete. Like, small bookstores struggle to compete with large online retailers, striving against others.
It's the verb, the action of being in a contest or rivalry,
Yeah.
and the person doing it is a competitor.
Right. Athletes competing, companies competing.
Then you have the noun, competition. Could be a specific event, like an annual essay competition.
Or the general state of things, like intense competition in the tech industry.
Exactly. It's both the contest itself and the whole environment of rivalry.
Which leads to competitive, like a highly competitive industry, lots of rivalry. And that exam sentence was interesting. A competitive environment pushed our ancestors to achieve potential. Competition as a driving force.
Yeah, that's a great example of how competitive isn't just about business or sports. It suggests that challenge, that rivalry, can actually fuel progress and development. It's a powerful idea.
It really is. Okay, then there's competent, different feel. She's a highly competent surgeon, means skilled, capable.
Right. Able to do the job well. And you have the adverb competently.
And I guess to compete, well, you generally need to be competent, right?
That's a great link.
Yeah.
Compete is about engaging in the rivalry. Competent is about having the skill to actually do well in that rivalry. One helps the other.
Makes sense. And last one for this section, versus.
Often just versus.
The classic showdown word.
Yeah.
Like in sports, Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. Or more abstractly, nature versus nurture sets up a clear opposition.
Definitely. It just flags up that contrast, this against that.
Okay, great. Now for our last group, the linguistic detective work. Words with the fin root.
Ah, yes, the root detectives. This can be super helpful.
Seeing how that shared root gives clues. First is confine. Examples. The search was confined to a 3-mile radius. Sets a limit. Or her responsibilities won't be confined to just one department. Not limited. Still about boundaries.
Exactly. That fin root relates to n, or boundary in Latin. So confine literally means to keep something within boundaries or limits. Physical area, scope of work, whatever.
Gotcha. Next, refine. Like refining his signature dish, making it better, more polished.
Or refine crude oil into gasoline, purifying it.
So it's about improving something, taking away the rough bits.
Yeah, removing impurities, making adjustments to reach a better, more perfected end result. Still connected to that idea of an end or limit, but in terms of quality.
Okay, then define. Like difficult to define what constitutes art, setting the boundaries of the concept.
Or the meaning of a word can also be defined by its context, establishing clear limits again.
So to define is to draw the line, say what something is, by marking it off from what it isn't.
Precisely. Setting its essential characteristics.
Which leads to definite, like online search engines don't always provide definite answers, meaning clear, certain answers with sharp boundaries.
Right, no fuzziness. And you have definitely, without doubt, and definition. But interestingly...
Yeah, the example. Still much disagreement on the precise definition of consciousness. The thing that's meant to be definite is itself up for debate.
Huh. Exactly. Definite means clear, certain. But the act of creating a definition can be complex, sometimes contested. Language is tricky.
Yeah, it is. Okay, next, infinite. Like infinite possibilities. No limits at all.
The opposite of fin, no end, no boundary.
That exam sentence about apparently infinite tasks. Yikes. Sounds stressful.
Totally. Without end.
Then we have limited. The opposite of infinite, or maybe unlimited. Effects are not limited exclusively to urban areas. Not restrictive.
Right.
And with limited resources, they achieve success. Resources had boundaries. We also have the noun limitation.
Yep. Limited brings back that idea of boundaries, restrictions, not endless.
Moving towards the end here. Eliminate. Like eliminate errors. Get rid of them completely.
Push them outside the boundary of what's wanted.
Or getting eliminated from a tournament. You're out, outside the boundary of the competition.
Exactly. To remove entirely, get rid of. Push it beyond the limits of inclusion.
And finally, restrict. Plus, restriction and restrictive. Example. Restrict the sale of tobacco to minors. Setting a boundary on who can buy.
Imposing a limit.
And the exam sentence. Restrictive ownership structure of a business. Limits how it can operate.
Yeah. Restrict is the verb for imposing limits. Restriction is the limit itself. And restrictive describes something that imposes limits. That business example shows how these limits really shape things.
Wow, okay. We made it through. That was quite a deep dive into Day 27, Part 1.
We covered a lot of ground.
Hopefully, seeing how these words connect linking, limiting, competing, that thin root helps build a stronger understanding than just, well, memorizing lists.
That's the goal. Seeing the nuances, the relationships. It's not just about recalling the word, it's about understanding how it works in context, especially in those academic texts.
Yeah.
That sharpens your reading comprehension massively.
Totally agree. So as you go back over Day 27, Part 1, maybe think about which connections surprise you, or which words still feel a little fuzzy.
Yeah, try to spot them in other things you read, see how they're used, what kinds of limits or links are they creating in those contexts.
And maybe chew on this. How does getting a really precise handle on these basic-seeming words like combine or limit or compete actually set you up to understand much more complex ideas later in your studies?
That's a great question. It's like building a solid foundation.
Definitely. Let us know in the comments maybe which words clicked or any questions you still have. We always like hearing from you.
I do.
And yeah, if you found this deep dive useful, please do like and follow. We'll be back with more explorations to help you on your academic journey.
Thanks for diving deep with us.